Hey, what's going on everyone? Xavier here, and welcome back to another Make Academy lesson. If you're just joining us, I'm documenting my journey from complete beginner to running my own AI automation agency. I'm following a three-phase plan to get me there, but it all starts with mastering workflow automation. That's why we're speeding through these lessons. We're wrapping up the first course of the basics section where we just finished learning about triggers and scheduling. Today I'm covering the final unit of the modules scheduling and bundles course. We're going to be learning about bundles. And then we'll finish the video off with the end of course assessment. If you want the full breakdown of my business plan, I'll put that video up there, as well as in the description below. But with that being said, let's jump into today's lessons. So here we are back in the Make Academy Unit 6, which is Introduction to Bundles. If it looks darker right now, it's because I actually somehow managed to delete the screen recording when I first shot this video earlier today. So I'm actually re-recording again so that I don't have to go back and realign every little click I did, and it would have just been a lot of work to do this without shooting the whole thing over again. So yeah, that's why it's a little darker. I don't normally shoot at this time of the day, but there's still plenty of light. So also I apologize if I sound very stuffy. I'm a little sick right now, but we'll get through these lessons real quick, and then we'll just do this end of course assessment real quick, and we'll get this over with quick. So let's just read this introduction. Welcome to the 6th and final unit of the first course in Make Basics. In this unit, we're going to explore bundles. Bundles are one of the most integral parts of Make. They help to organize the data that our scenarios use. In this unit, we will explore what is a bundle, examples of bundles that have already been used so far, input bundles versus output bundles, and items. Click next. What does a bundle look like? Let's start by looking at what you have already created. Open your Make Foundation/Basics use case and click Run Once. This will execute the scenario and generate one or several bundles. Clicking the icon next to the weather app will show your output from the module. This contains the initialization, operation, commit, and finalization phase statuses. Click the operation to the right to see an example of this. So when you run your scenario, you'll get these initialization operations, which contain the input and output, and commit and finalization at the bottom there, just to show that it actually successfully ran that module. Note that within operations for the weather app, there will be a single bundle. This will contain the input and the output. I'm gonna click next. A closer look at bundles. What does the bundle look like? As you can see from the bundle of the weather app, there is an input and output contained in a single operation. Think of the input and output bundle of each module as what you put in, the settings for the module, versus what you get out, the result. For example, if I put my dirty laundry bundle input into the washing machine module, the output will be a bundle of clean clothing bundle. The items are the individual elements that make up the bundle. For example, if the bundle is a laundry basket, then the items within the bundle are the t-shirts, trousers, socks, etc. The input. The weather app is a great starting point for understanding the input of a bundle. The module settings require you to specify the location type and your city. This gives the weather app the information it needs to retrieve the output data. If you select the operation above your Google Sheet Add a Row module, the input will look drastically different, but it should look familiar. It will match the settings that you earlier defined in the module, e.g. the spreadsheet ID/name, the mapped values, etc. Note, not all modules will show an input bundle. For example, a Google Forms module will only provide an output. This is because it is searching for data from an external source, the output. Next, we should review the output bundle of the weather app. You will notice many more options available to you. Temperature, wind, cloudiness, sunrise, description, etc. These should look familiar to you. They are the items that you mapped earlier. Look at the output bundle for the Google Sheets Add a Row module. This will look slightly different. It provides detailed information of each row that has been added. So this is just showing that the output of the bundle is the same as the information that you can map into other modules. Downloading bundles. It is worth noting that you are able to download the JSON of your input/output bundles. To do so, click this guy and select to download input/output bundles. This will allow you to copy and paste the JSON data. This will be explored further in the Make Advanced course. Yeah, so if you run your scenario and generate a bundle, you can download the JSON by going to this little symbol here. And you can just choose which one you want to download, the input or the output bundles. I'm gonna click next. Bundles use case. Let's see bundles in action on this use case. This scenario is designed to collect user feedback data from a Google form which asks users to rate their satisfaction of their customer experience. They are asked in the form, how would you rate your customer experience out of 5, as well as provide their email address. If the user rating is 2 or lower, the details are mapped to a message and the customer experience team are notified immediately on Slack. So we got some bubbles to click. I'm gonna click this Google Forms Watch Responses module. For this demo, we have filled out the form 5 times. In 3 responses, the user's satisfaction rating is 2 or lower. When the scenario is executed, it will produce 5 bundles, equaling 1 bundle per form filled out. Each bundle will contain a response from each user in the form of items, the time, the row number within the spreadsheet, the user's email address, etc. Note: the Watch Responses module will only consume 1 operation. I'm gonna click on this little filter. The filter has been configured to pass any rating that is less than or equal to 2. Once the scenario has been executed, only 3 bundles will be passed through the filter. Selecting the filter icon will display each bundle. If the bundle has a green tick next to it, then the criteria has been met and the data has been passed along the scenario. Note: no operations are consumed for filtering data. Yeah, so you can see by these little check marks and the little red circles which passed and which did not. Now we can click on this Slack Create a Message module. Finally, the Slack module output is split into 3 separate operations, 1 for each bundle that passed the filter. Selecting one of these operations will show you the input and output bundles for it. The input here is what has been created/mapped within the Slack module, which is the message and the channel it should go to. The output here is a summary of the input and confirms that the operation has been successful. This can be seen by the summary within Slack. Yeah, so you can see the input and output bundle that you got from this first module when you got responses less than, 2 or lower, then it would go through this filter and it would go into Slack. It'll show up in this format where you can see the input of the actual module, which is Slack. So like the information that you set inside of this module when you first set it up and put it into your scenario, and the output, which is what happens after the information is transferred to this module and then goes through the input and then actually outputs that data. Now, if they would have had this little message open, you would have been able to see like whatever, like this is the custom message. It says, hello team, a user has indicated an unsatisfactory score. And basically it would show that for whoever. It would show like the group, or what did they say? The channel. It'll show the channel and then the whatever person, I guess, the people in that channel, whoever, like it'll show the message and where they and what they saw, you know what I mean? Like you'd be able to see the information that you're sending out and what it would look like, right? But they didn't open that. They didn't open the message there. So I'm gonna click next. Why are bundles/items so useful? This should have demonstrated what a bundle and item is and what is happening within your scenario every time it is activated. Bundles and items are a crucial part of furthering your skill set with Make. They can be manipulated to fulfill a huge range of scenarios. Manipulating bundles will be explored in a later module where we will explore iterators and aggregators, tools within Make that will allow us to combine and separate bundles. Before we do that though, there are a few other areas around data that we need to explore. This will be covered in the next course. Yeah, so I do remember that iterators and aggregators are going to be a big part of manipulating data when it comes to mapping information and changing information. So we will be covering iterators and aggregators very soon. All right, I'm gonna click next. And that's the end of the unit. Cool. So now we have a better understanding of what is a bundle, input and output bundles, and also what is an item and how it appears within your scenario / modules. So yeah, quick lesson. Today, we're gonna get right into this assessment. 10 questions. Now, I'm just gonna come right out and say it. I got a 70% on this test the first time I took it. But it wasn't my fault because they had some dumb questions, in my opinion. I know. Let me just bear with me, all right? Look, I'm gonna show you, because when they come up, you're gonna feel my pain. Just watch. I'm gonna click mark this task as complete. Oh yeah, see, it's already right there. See, but we're gonna retake it for you because we're gonna get 100% this time. All right, so here we go. Question 1. What is the function of a blueprint within Make? Choose all that apply. This is both of them. A blueprint allows you to export your scenario, which can be shared. And also, a blueprint allows you to import a scenario to configure it for your own use. Both of those. Cool. You import a blueprint from outside of your organization for a scenario that passes data between 2 Google Sheets. What actions do you need to take once you have imported the blueprints? All right, so this is dumb question number 1. B says, reconfigure the connection to the apps. That one was obvious to me. And then C says, reconfigure / remap any documents. Now, this one, the first time around, I did not think it was the right answer because it just sounded like it was repeating itself here, and I thought it was like a little trick question. It was not. It's both of these, because why not? I don't know why they separated them like this. They're basically saying the same thing, but you know what? Who am I to judge? Anyways, next question. Within Make, what is a module? A connection to a server, an automation that is set to run at a scheduled time, an element that is added to a scenario. It is C. An element that is added to a scenario, for sure. Great. Next question. Alex is creating a scenario that needs to perform several actions. He needs the scenario to identify users who live in France, email the users notifying them of a change in their service, and update his records to reflect they have been contacted. Which 3 module types would he use for this automation? So I did get this one wrong. Email the user, notifying them of a change in service. Right here, action, send an email. Update his records to reflect they have been contacted. Update a row, action is right here. And then this is where I messed up on the first time around. Identifying users who live in France. I selected search list sheets. I don't know why. I interpreted it differently in my head than what it actually is. So yeah, but it's actually search rows, and it's gonna be just those 3. Yeah. All right, next question. A scenario performs the following actions. Searches the spreadsheet for users in the UK, checks if they have booked their hotel using a filter, sends a reminder email if the hotel booked field contains the value no, and updates the reminder sent field to the value yes. When the scenario is executed, how many operations will be consumed to send a reminder email to the UK users? I want you to pause the video and try to answer this question before I tell you what the answer is, because this is the last dumb question that I got wrong. So I'm gonna give you time to pause this and try to answer this before I give you the answer, but I will explain why it is dumb after I answer it. All right, that should be enough time. So if you guessed 3, congratulations. You're just as dumb as me because the answer is 5. I think this question is dumb because it said, how many operations will be consumed to send a reminder email to the UK users, right? That means the only thing you should be tracking is how many operations will be consumed to send a reminder email to the UK users. Now, if you go to all the no's, there's only 3 no's. That means there was only 3 reminder emails sent. Now, if they asked how many operations would the entire scenario take, yeah, it's 5, but that's not what they asked. They worded this very terribly. But anyways, we gotta write this time around because I'm from the future. All right, question 6. How many triggers can a scenario have? The answer is 1 from the source module. Sorry, not source module. Source module can be just like any module you get information from. I meant the initial module. Question 7. Which of the following statements are true? A polling trigger will execute your scenario at intervals. Correct. B, a polling trigger will execute your scenario when changes occur. No. C, an instant trigger will notify make of any changes at a set interval. No. D, an instant trigger will notify make of any changes as they occur. Yes. Cool. Question 8. If you see acid on one of your module triggers, what does this mean? A, this module type supports the rollback feature. It's the rollback feature one. Let me just read this though. If there is an error when the scenario is executed, the action can be undone. Next question. Which type of schedule setting is this? This one is the on-demand one. Nice. Last question. Is the following statement true or false? The trigger module for a scenario will consume 1 operation, regardless of how many bundles it produces. This is true. The trigger module, which is the initial module, will always only consume 1 operation. Cool. Awesome. 100%. We're so smart. But yeah, weird questions in these. They really got me the first time, but still pretty basic level stuff here. Nothing too complicated, just the questions are laid out weird. But let me show you what we're gonna be getting into next video. So I'm gonna go back to the dashboard and I'm gonna click the home button, go back into make basics. And here you can see our second course in the basic section, which is an introduction to data types and data structures. So yeah, here you can see the description. You can read it if you want. And there's 5 lessons. Probably do the first 2 next video. But yeah, that first course is probably the simplest stuff we're gonna be covering in this section, the basic section. Because this next course is when we actually start getting technical with the information that we're learning here, because you can actually change the information that you not only generate yourself, but that you map within your modules. So basically you can take the information and how it is output to you in the base form that it comes in. You can modify it to make it look however you want it to look. Like how we just went over the Slack module slightly, and how it was showing like a custom message saying like, you know, what you would see if you sent this to someone. It's basically the same way, except it's more in the actual information that you are mapping, instead of it being like in a specific module. Like you can do it just with the information itself. But yeah, anyways, that's gonna be it for me for today. If you found any of this stuff interesting or you want to see more, please feel free to drop a like, comment your thoughts, or hit that subscribe button. But yeah, hope you guys are all doing well, and hope to see you in the next one. Take care.